All right, everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Thank you for coming back. And my guest this time is JD Crowe, award-winning cartoonist and political cartoonist. You're going to love this conversation. I had a great time. He had a great time. And if you stick here and listen, you're going to have a great time. You trust me now, right? You've listened to the other episodes, and when I tell you you're going to have a great time, have I lied to you yet? Of course not, and I'm not going to start now. So, are you ready? Of course you are. Let's do it. All right, everybody, I told you I like to have people on the show whose work I enjoy, whose work I dig. I've been following this man on the show today on social media for a while. I've been enjoying his artwork. And finally, when I finally got this show going, I got him to come on this show. I love his work. So will you. And now I'm going to have the pleasure talking to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. JD Crowe. How you doing?
Oh, very, very well. It's good to hear your awesome voice, S. Anthony. We follow each other for years, and I've always thought you were an awesome dude. But man, you sound really good.
Well, thank you, good sir. You know, the funny thing is I've been looking at your work for a while, and it was really cool because I said even when I would see your work online and I didn't know it was you, I knew it was you.
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah. So you either need to like it or hate it quickly, just like a lot of my readers.
How hard are the readers on you? Because you do political cartoons, and I know if there's somebody that has a different ideology, ooh, it gets bad.
Oh, you kidding me? I'm I'm down here in the reddest state in the country, in Alabama, and I live in one of the reddest counties, one of the most conservative counties in this big old red state, and I'm just trying to shine a light. I'm like the lone voice. I mean, the people that are smart don't talk up, don't speak their minds if it goes against the grain.
Because I just imagine, because it's like I see the cartoons and I know, and the thing is, they're very, very vivid pictures, very well done, and it gets the point across immediately. And I just imagine, because even when you're online, if you just say something that people don't like, you get.
Oh. It's ridiculous. In the past, up until the last, what I'm talking about, the last 2.5 years, I could draw a cartoon that would poke fun at a Republican or a Democrat or whatever. I don't get caught up in party politics. I don't like party politics. So I just take shots at characters. And down here in this state, they all happen to be in the same party. So, but in the old days, up until a few years ago, if you had kind of what I think is just a funny cartoon, both sides could laugh at. it. But now, everybody's tribal. They got their team. If you pick on their team, they hate you.
Yeah.
And there's no sense of humor. Everybody's lost their sense of humor now, so it's gotten tough. Plus, the rhetoric's gotten so bad that if I'm holding a mirror to what's actually going on, it looks like I'm the mean one, because I'm just showing you what's going on out there. So.
It's weird because I always thought when I was a kid, I used to watch politics and I got a kick out of it because it was really kind of the only time you get an idea of what the country was thinking. It was the ultimate water cooler moment, And now, social media, the second you say anything, whoo.
No, it's a firestorm. I had a little post the other day I thought was just a funny joke. It wasn't even a cartoon. It was just off the hand comment, and boy, it just lit a fire. And anyway, but it's funny because I was talking about this to some of my friends. Individually, if I get anybody one on one, I come from people that I disagree with politically, and some of my best friends and some of my family, we're on polar opposites, but I can get along with anybody. If we sit down and start talking, we're going to be friends, I think. But social media, it puts this wall up there to where you got to pick a side, and some of these people are anonymous. They're not even using the right names, especially on I work for AL.com. There are AL.com comment boards. You pick a fake name just like you can on Twitter and all these other places.
Mm.
And if you have to own up to who you are, you're a little more civil usually. But I get people with these little fake profile names and fake pictures, and they're calling me a coward for telling the truth. So it's kind of weird.
They're calling you a coward for creating work and putting your name on it.
And putting my name on it. And putting it out there, and they call me a coward.
You coward in the newspaper in front of everybody with your name and face.
Yeah. So some dude that lives in his mom's basement with a tinfoil hat's calling me a coward.
I just get a kick out of that, And I was wondering because when you started doing this, here's what I want to ask you. My grandmother and some of my parents said it, some of my aunts and uncles said this to me. They said what you were doing at, say, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the thing you're supposed to be doing and the thing you really want to do. And at that age, I was doing something like this. Right?
Yeah.
So, which is this?
That's exactly right. And I've been that's really interesting that you brought that up. And you say your aunts and your grandmas and stuff say that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been talking about when I go to schools. Now, believe it or not, they let me. This is very disturbing, but sometimes they let me go into schools and talk to school children. And I'll tell them, if I say, I get an earlier start. I said, I usually tell them, you pretty much are who you are at the age of 5 before the school systems get hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to go to school and hone those talents and learn how to speak well and write well and all that stuff. But the stuff you're doing earlier, I think 4, 5, and 6,
mm-hmm.
Is who you are. And the example I give is, of course, it's me. When I was a toddler, I was drawing stuff before I could even talk.
Mm.
My mom found out that she had a really good kid on her hands if she just kept my pencil sharp. She would find paper for me to draw on. It was usually an old brown grocery bag, those big ones.
Mm-hmm.
She would tear it down on the corners and lay it flat on the floor. And I would disappear into that thing. I'd just start drawing cowboys and Indians or pigs and horses, and I'd make up superheroes. And the only time that I got a little disgruntled was when my lead broke and the pencil needed to be sharpened, and I just held it up. And she'd swoop. I don't know. She could be in the next county. My pencil would go up in the air, and she'd swoop in and sharpen that thing and go on about her business. I don't know what she'd do.
That's calling a mom who knows, my friend.
Yeah. So I'll try to make this short, but I did 3 things at about the age of 5. The things I really loved were drawing pictures. And then I got a little bit like a toddler. We lived way out in the country in Kentucky. I lived on a little farm out in Kentucky. And we had pigs and chickens and cows and stuff, but I was fascinated with the hogs.
Mm.
So I would go out there when I was tired of drawing. I'd go out there and recharge my batteries by go watching the hogs eat. I'd sit up there and you ever listen to hogs eat? You get a bunch of them out there at the trough. They kind of make their own music.
Yeah.
Their big old bodies slap against each other, and it's like the bass, bump, 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 and then the hogs are sloshed around in their slop, and when they start acting ugly, they'll squeal at each other. That's kind of like a guitar solo. and I would just be fascinated by that. So, but when they start acting ugly, then they start biting on one another. The third thing I like to do, I like to draw on like 50. The third thing I like to do is throw things. Like we didn't really have toys or anything, but I love to throw rocks and dirt clods. Down there by that old hog lot was a gnarly old apple tree. It had these little hard apples. And they weren't much good for eating, but they fit in my little toddler hand real good.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those hogs would start biting one of them. bite another one's ear. I took it on myself to be the pig police. So I started throwing apples at them, and I would aim right for the buttocks because that made the best sound. The hog's butt kind of looks like a big catcher's mitt.
Exactly.
You know. So I'd rear back and I'd throw strike after strike and make a great sound. What? But before I ever started school, I knew I loved to draw, and I knew I loved to watch the hogs eat, and I knew I liked to keep them in line, and that's kind of what I still do today. You know, I still draw, and you know, I like to watch the hogs eat. So nowadays they're called politicians.
Exactly.
And when you get out of line, I like to throw one at them. You know, and if I really nail one, you know, in the morning when they get reading the paper or they see it online, I kind of feel like in the distance I can get them freedom.
How quickly, if you get a really good picture in there, how quickly does the governor get in contact with you?
Well, it depends on the governor. The governors and a lot of politicians, the old school politicians had it figured out. You could really zing them, and they would call you right up and ask for that original. And they would smooth talk you for about 20 minutes, thinking that would just make it go away next time. Well, no, you just herbs and do it again. But what it does, it takes once I find out somebody doesn't have a sense of humor about themselves, the ones that really take it personally, and they hate the cartoons, they're just going to get an extra dose.
Yes.
Yeah. So back in the old days, you're right though, back in the old days, the smart ones, they would call up and want that original. I had mayors and governors that had my cartoons all over their office. But nowadays they seem to be a little more thin-skinned.
It's amazing to see it. It's amazing to see it because that's the thing I was always wondering about. Because when I was going to call you, I was thinking about it. I was like, I know that you had the drawing bug early, which I assumed. That because that's usually when artists usually know immediately on what they're going to be doing. And your mother was very supportive. She got the pencils out. She got everything going. She nurtured it. But there comes a point when you move from being a kid and you become a teenager. And sometimes there's this road that kind of drags you away from the art for a little while.
Yes.
And that happens to a lot of people. And then you kind of find your way back. But when you got dragged away, and I know you did because everybody does, what was it that pulled you away temporarily?
Just the ignorance that was something that could be a career. I just never thought that would be a viable career, just drawing cartoons or whatever it was. I always felt like, oh, you're right. I went to school, I went to college, and I said, okay, I like to draw, but what am I going to do with that? So I was studying other stuff, and I was thinking about going into theater. I was thinking about broadcasting. I thought a job in radio would be awesome. So I dabbled in a few other things, and that's something I always done. So I wound up majoring in design, and then I started thinking, well, I'm going to be more of a fine art. I'm going to be a disturbed painter that's going to cut off my ear and mail it to prostitutes. But I've only got 2 ears, and that's just too tough. So I don't know. Yeah,
that definitely would have moved the. That would have moved the needle.
Yeah. So back in the days, 34 years ago, when I finally graduated, it was before computers and it was before online stuff, and my portfolio was this big old thing, big and beautiful, with big old drawings in it. And I'd lug this thing around to advertising agencies, and anybody would give me a portfolio review. But I always kept my little cartoon doodle book with me. And more times than not, they'd be going through this big Buick of drawings and paintings and stuff, and then somebody would grab my little doodle book and start looking through that and start laughing. He said, dude, this is what you need to be doing. These cartoons is what you need to be doing. And I would go, I can't get away from it. So I never realized it could be a career until I actually got hired to do it in a career. So you know, I kept, like you said, I kept running away from it, but I kept coming back to it at the same time.
Yeah, it kind of grabbed you by the belt buckle and dragged you back.
Yeah. I want to hear more about your story. I mean, so you've always liked to be a comedian or talk and interview people and broadcast and be out there a little bit, huh?
It was always when just like we said a few minutes ago, I always enjoyed conversations with people because I find people fascinating. And the more different from me, the better. Which is why, because if I actually brought my 10 best friends and I stood in the middle of them, your first thought would be, how the hell did that happen?
No, there you go.
Like, I love that. Where did you meet these guys? You know, these guys and ladies.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it's a weird thing because I grew up in Philadelphia. So, yeah. You know, I'm a black guy. I grew up in a black neighborhood. So the first 17 years, I had no friends of any other anything. Started doing comedy. And then all of a sudden, boom, 75% of my friends were everything that I wasn't. You know,
that's great. You got it.
Yeah.
Like a patchwork quilt.
Yeah. It looks like a Benetton ad.
Yeah.
That's what my friends look like.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. If you're, I love how you call yourself a delicious chocolate genius. So I guess I'm the bitter vanilla dork. So I guess we're pretty.
Well, there you go. You have just been added to the Benetton picture.
Excellent. I love
it. You know, it's really weird because this is what I got to know because I can't draw. I have relatives that can draw really well. I got the gift of having to use language. I'm really good with that. I can't draw anything. If you actually saw me, you know, when the UPS guy shows up and you have to write on that little pad.
Yeah.
If someone was to analyze that, they would go, okay, why did you let your grandson fill this out? I don't have a grandson. I should say grandnephew. But I'm always fascinated by, you know, because I was watching some things about you online and you were drawing a picture of the governor on a dry erase board. And you said you could draw his picture in your sleep. And I'm often wondering, what do you see when you're putting, you know, you're trying to tell a story in one picture, which is harder than doing it in Twitter in 240 or 140. I mean, 280 or 140.
Yeah.
You have to do it in one picture in a sentence. How? What are you doing? What are you thinking?
Well, basically, I think we're, you know, every day I ask myself the same thing. I don't know. I have to be retrained every day. I start from scratch every day. I don't know what the hell's going on. But, or how I do this or that. I don't have a formula. But basically, I guess if I were a columnist, I'd write the column first and then spend the rest of the day trying to get the words out and put it into a picture. So that's kind of what I do. But, you know, it's kind of dangerous. What I've just recently realized just very recently, that when I'm drawing someone's caricature like that governor you're talking about, he is one ugly guy. I'm starting to look like the people I'm drawing because I didn't realize it, but while I'm drawing it, I'm making the expressions where my face is actually contorting to the face I'm trying to draw. That scares the hell out of me. I'm starting to look more and more like these creepy governors and stuff.
Well, makes it easy to get closer to him.
Yeah, maybe age has something to do with that too. I don't know.
You know, the funny thing is, you know, now. But here's the thing. This is what I like to call problem solving, JD. Now that you know, now you need, like, say, how many political cartoons do you do a week? Would you say, or a month?
Oh, an average about 4 or 5 a week.
4 or 5 a week. Okay. Yeah. Now think of drawing these pictures, these political cartoons as workout days. Like when they tell you to work out at the gym, as you get older, they say, okay, you got to work out of the 5 days of the regular week. You got to work out 3 of those days minimum. Now, if you want to work on your looks, 3 days a week, you have to draw a young Brad Pitt and a young Russell Crowe, a young Hugh Jackman, and just do that 3 times a week. Bam, problem solved.
There you go. You're amazing. That's the best advice I've ever done. The problem is it will have to be a serious workout outside of my work day because Alabama elects some really ugly people.
Well, at some point I'm going to have to do shows. At some point I'm going to have to do shows in Alabama, so I'm going to have to say I disagree with you. I think they're incredible. The best looking people ever, and I think they're all fantastic.
Absolutely. I do love our voters because they give me lots to work with. They always love the biggest goobers.
Job security, man.
It is, yeah.
If you actually had politicians that help people, first of all, that would be very rare.
Yeah.
And they'd also, if you found that, they'd go, listen, JD, now that you found some helpful politicians, we were wondering, could you help us find Waldo, the Loch Ness Monster, DB Cooper?
That's great.
We'll be back right after this short message. And now, back to the show.
No, my mind is exhausted these days, but I'll do what I can.
Now, you said you studied either fine art, and I saw your paintings. Now, this is something I'm curious about, because a lot of times when people have, an art that they've pretty much mastered, they got their thing going, and they begin to do the other thing, like say you played guitar or something like that, or you sang or something along that line. You also paint. When you paint, what are you thinking? I mean, is it a vacation mentally from your normal day? From your normal political politics? Because you don't get attacked with your paintings.
Yeah, pretty much anything I do outside of the political cartoons is a vacation. And what I've done is, I got to know you through Twitter, and when I was on Twitter a lot, that's when I was writing a lot, and I was actually drawing stuff that wasn't political a lot. And so that to me was vacation. And then I learned Twitter was a great writing tool for me, and then I could turn something, if the tweet was something about politics, more times than not, I could turn that into my cartoon for the day. So I was accomplishing 2 or 3 different things. So after that, since that period, I had a pretty busy 3-year period on Twitter where I accumulated quite a few pretty good tweets, I thought, but I spent a lot of time writing that stuff. They also turned them into cartoons, a lot of, and then I put out a book with it. And I called those half-thunk thoughts and half-assed drawing.
Yes.
And to me, that was a lot of fun. They were just non-political and they were just fun. And I didn't have to take a lot of heat for it, and it was me having fun. I don't like politics that much. I'd rather stick pins in the eyes than argue with somebody about their politics. I'm not going to change them.
Especially not nowadays.
Man. No. But, and I'm very non-confrontational. And in public, I'll let you argue me up one side down the other, and I'll just nod and grin, and then I'll go home and draw a real nasty picture of you later. But I'm kind of passive aggressive that way.
I always wonder.
But my mental breaks are now I do that. I do scribbling and just doodling just for fun, and also I've gotten in touch with my inner older lady. I like taking photos of sunsets. So I do that stuff too.
You take pictures of sunsets?
Yeah. I know it's kind of weird, but I live pretty close to the bay here in Alabama. It's a really beautiful bay, and I can walk down the street, and there's usually a really nice sunset at the end of the day. It's kind of a nice payoff for dealing with politics. So what I found out was, I took a few pictures, and I never posted them or anything, and then one day where the cartoon I'd done earlier just really ticked off everybody. And so I posted a picture of this nice, friendly, happy sunset. And so my idea was, you're mad at me for the cartoon, here, chill out, have a sunset. So I posted that. And then it got way more likes or got more attention than the cartoon. So I started posting more sunsets. So that's been kind of my alter ego.
I'll be honest with you. I can't make fun of anybody that likes sunsets because, I'm going to admit this. I know a lot of people are going to hear this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm going to throw myself out there. I actually, here we go. All right. I'm going to say it. I got a new computer because my other one blew up, and I spent 2 hours looking for just the right sunset picture to put on my screen.
I can send you one. I got a bunch of them.
I literally sat there going, nope, not enough. Nope, not enough grass. Nope.
Yep.
Not enough water. And I also, by the way, the fact that I admitted this when I'm talking to you right now, when this posts in a few weeks, okay,
yeah.
I know sometime within the first 2 hours that it comes out, my direct messages, my email.
We're both going to be outed.
Yeah, my Benetton guys. All of a sudden, that's going to be the vocal firing squad.
Yeah.
Because I know it's just like when you put out a cartoon. There's got to be times when you create and you're going, as soon as I put this out,
yeah,
I know it's coming. I know this is going to be bad. I have to do it. It's my job. I'm proud of it. I'm good at it. But here it comes, and you hit the send button. What is the one that really recently? I'll ask you about an early one, but one that recently, like we just described. As soon as you put that in, you're going, here it comes.
Here it goes.
Yeah. What's the most recent one that you knew were getting it?
Well, anything about Trump. I could say Trump just doesn't smell as nice as another guy, and the Trumpers will come out and they're just blind with anger. I mean, it's just crazy. I think the one most recently that ignited them was I did one called the Igniter in Chief, and it was just Trump's thumb on his iPhone, and the iPhone was also it was very visual. It was an iPhone with a big, the Twitter trademark in the middle of it, and he's flicking it like a dick with a big, large flame coming out of it. So I called it an Igniter in Chief, and I just left it there, and people went nuts.
Okay, how many seconds after you took your finger off the send button did the first "you suck" show up? That's what I
still got the burn thing. I still got the burn mark. No, it happened pretty quick. No.
Because I think for somebody like you that does political cartoons, your career is going to be pre-Trump, pre-Trump, during Trump, post-Trump.
Well, kind of, in a way. But the thing about it is, my focus is the last several years. My focus has been on Alabama politics, and Alabama politics is the only thing that knocks Trump off the drawing board. Jeff Sessions. You never heard of Jeff Sessions until he got But I was drawing Jeff Sessions cartoons for years. And Roy Moore in the special election last year, I've been having to deal with these guys for a long time, and it has been my job to keep everyone else from knowing who Roy Moore was, keep everyone else from knowing who Jeff Sessions was. And I feel like my job as an Alabama cartoonist is to keep these varmints from jumping the fence and disturbing the rest of the country. When one or two of them gets out, I feel like I face them.
Well,
so I'm keeping these guys at bay.
Well, what I would say to you, my friend, is seeing as how you have a very Zelig-like ability to turn into who you're drawing. I would back up off the Jeff Sessions pictures.
Yeah, I need to start drawing some more names, some pretty things.
I would suggest just go back and do some art. What you need to do is do about 500 or 600 young Burt Reynolds pictures.
There you go. I need to make up some ground.
Now, when you put this book together, half thoughts and half fast strong. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know it had to be a lot of fun because the work was you kind of going through what you already did and cultivating the best bits for the book.
Yeah.
But you've got to have, I don't know, 6 or 7 quadrillion pictures at this point. And have you ever thought of just pretty much cataloging, maybe everything you've drawn and just picking the best bits by decade or something like that?
I guess at some point, I look back at some of the earlier stuff, and it just didn't. There's very few things I've drawn earlier on that I like anymore. I can see where it was a growth period, and I can see the humor was there, but I would have drawn it a little differently. I'm not sure. I mean, that's a good idea, a good anthology of stuff, but I'm not sure I'm at the point where anybody would buy any of that stuff.
Okay, I just want to say right now, since that idea was good, everybody, I want you to let JD know that if he does this at my insistence, and it's because comes a big, gigantic mega seller, make sure that you demand I get my cut of said book.
That's what this is all about.
Because I thought about it, because when I see these things, like the book you were talking about, because I followed that Twitter page of this, of that book. I followed it because I wanted to look at the pictures. I didn't know that page existed. I follow your regular page, obviously, because we've been following each other for a while on Facebook and on Twitter. But, I always, wait a minute. There's something I read also. State cartoonist.
Yeah.
Statewide cartoonist.
And that's the most ridiculous thing. When I first got into the business 30 some odd years ago, at that point in 1982, I think, when I first got my staff job as a cartoonist for a newspaper in Texas, the Fort Worth Star Telegram. At that point, they hired me, didn't know what to do with me. I was just fresh out of college, and I'd screwed up a few things, and I was a staff artist, but I kept drawing these stupid cartoons that kept getting me in trouble. So at that point, one of the cartoonists left, and they shuffled me into the editorial cartoonist position, thinking I was just either going to think or swim. At that point, most major cities had 2 newspapers and 2 cycles, a morning and an evening cycle, and so some cities had 4 cartoons. So when I first got in the business, there was 250 some odd editorial cartoonists, and now we're down to about 50. We're down to about 1 per state, and I'm the only one in Alabama, which is kind of crazy because with our goofy bass-acted politicians, a whole team of cartoonists could follow every one of these politicians around, and they'd all stay busy. The fact that I'm the only one in this state is crazy. I need to be an octopus. I I
what
can't
I'm
call
saying,
fast enough to keep up with this stuff.
I'm figuring something right now. Maybe I should ask you this question, JD, if that's your real name. First, there were a lot of cartoonists, and then all of a sudden, it was just you. Is there something you want to confess right now on this show? If I dug up the front of your house, would I find 6 cartoonists in the front yard?
Damn it, yes, Anthony. No, you wouldn't find them in the front yard. I am a cartoonist cannibal. I'll eat every cartoonist.
I knew it. Exclusive. I knew it. I knew this. I tricked you.
Spoiled again. I should never be.
I tricked you. See,
podcast with someone smarter than you. I'm getting foiled.
See, this is what I'm talking about, JD. This entire time, I befriended you on Facebook and Twitter, and the whole time I was setting you up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I knew I'd find those dead cartoonists. I knew I'd find them.
You're not the delicious chocolate genius. You're the delicious chocolate grim reaper cartoonist. Dang you.
Oh, how did you know I was going to change my Twitter handle as soon as this was over? Goodness gracious. You got the inside scoop. Well, you are in a newspaper. Maybe you have some sources that fetch you the information. Now, what are your side projects? What do you do when you're not drawing or painting? What do you do?
It seems like that's all I get done. I'm actually trying to be on vacation for a couple of weeks. I'm trying to figure that out. I hope to maybe get a little real, like, fun reading done, maybe ride the bicycle a little bit. I need to work out. I was on a pretty good workout routine, but I just need to get back to it because as the end of the year approaches, I take on too many things. People want me to do this and do that, and I've run out of time to do what I need to do. And so I think, the bottom line, I'm very boring.
Not today, my friend.
I'm very boring. And I think, what was fun, I'll tell you what was fun. I do dabble in a little bit of stand-up comedy occasionally, not very often. I know not enough to satisfy, to be in the ranks with you. But my daughter was home for, my daughter's going to Auburn University, and she's studying engineering. And so what she's found out is, she's very funny. She's a very funny girl. What she's found out is, she had an internship over the summer, and she stayed home with us. And she went to this internship job, and she found out that all her jokes are over the heads of these people that she was working with, and she's kind of lamenting her major. So she found a comedy club midweek that we could go to that had it wasn't really a comedy club, but they had an open mic night.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to go hang out with my daughter. I was cool enough to go hang out with my daughter. And my wife and I would go accompany her, and we'd go, and she went up cold one night. She didn't, and just blew it away. So she's got some game. And, I went up and embarrassed her later on, but because I was such a dork, but now she's got some game. So that was fun, just hanging out with her and doing some comedy. So in the future, it'd be kind of cool to do more of that.
Ooh, that's another one that comedy, stand-up comedy, once you get on the stage and you master the techniques, ooh, it's like, it's one of those things that you can't stop doing. You just can't stop doing it. And,
well, I know you've got the dog, and I'd love to hear you sometime.
Oh, it's coming, my friend. I'll be everywhere. Prepare to draw a cartoon of a beautiful man standing on stage with a microphone with people laughing. Yeah. Get that ready, JD.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Yeah.
So how does your family deal with I mean, do they deal with any kind of backlash when when you draw these things? I mean, have they ever been, have they, Dad, listen, maybe you should calm down a little bit on, or honey, maybe you should not.
Yeah. I would tell you this. I come from very conservative, really good conservative people, but they have a really good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And we were brought up telling stories, and we didn't talk a lot about politics, and we didn't get off on a lot of stuff, but my dad and my mom both had a great sense of humor, but they were both very, very straight. I've never heard my dad say a cuss word in his life. My dad's worst when he really had to let one go. It was an F word. You know what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard this expression? He would yell, "Foot to it." Have you ever heard that?
No.
And he only used that once or twice, but I remember. And one time he banged his thumb with a hammer. And he foot to it. And that was as violent as he got. And another time, I wanted him to catch me playing baseball. I love to throw baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So he came home from work one day, and I gave him the catcher's mitt, and I said, "Just squat down there, I'm going to throw you in the fastball." "Okay, whatever." And I threw an errant pitch. It hit him in the toe. It bounced off his toe. It hit our truck in the windshield and broke the windshield of the truck. And that was the loudest foot to it I've ever heard in my life.
Jesus. A person is not going to curse when they hit themselves with a hammer or see the truck damage.
Yeah. Personal pain and a truck, and then the truck.
If you're not cursing, then it's not going to happen. Wait a minute.
It ain't going to happen. No,
what about you? You throw those words out a little bit?
I can throw them out a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started doing what I do, and I started drawing stuff that I know they didn't really like or didn't appreciate, I would go home. I moved away from home. I would go back to my home in Kentucky, and I'd look on the refrigerator, and there'd be all these cartoons they'd cut out of the local newspaper that sometimes picked up my cartoons. And I knew good and well they didn't really believe what that cartoon meant or anything like that, but they posted them. And the best thing I remember is my mom. She would look at something I drew or painted or anything, and later on when I drew a cartoon, she would look at it and she would tell me, she said, "Well, I really don't know what that means, but I can tell it's real."
Mm.
So that was like the best compliment I could get. They supported me throughout, and I know you got a lot of support with whatever the hell it is you
do. It's one of those things where, I guess I could say that, but the thing was, I always was one of those people where, I love the support, but if I didn't get it, I really didn't care.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. Yeah, that's nice. And then I just go.
Well, good. That's a great attitude. That's right. I mean, you're resilient, man. You just do it.
Yeah. You're so smart. You should do this. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, got to go to the club.
Yeah.
They think I'm smart too, but they think I'm smart and funny.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you this. Now, what do you have going right now that you want everybody to know about? Because I'm going to put all your links to your work and things like that in the show notes. But what do you want?
I don't want anybody to know anything about me now. I work for AL.com, Alabama Media Group. We just developed a new brand off of AL.com called Reckon, RECKON, and our little Reckon team this year won a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah, and everyone had a hand in all this stuff, but our was all about, mostly about a lot of stuff, but mostly about the coverage that we all did for the special election last year with Roy Moore and all that stuff. Now, John does a lot more work than that, but his work kind of crystallized, and he's kind of like the signature name for our group. And I won some awards, you know, I've won some little bit of awards for some stuff too, but Reckon's a really big, it's kind of a cool thing that's going on. And we're doing a lot of investigative stuff, we're doing videos, we're doing, and I'm hoping to be a part of some more of that in the future.
So you're part of it.
Expanding the brand is what we're trying to do.
So basically, you're part of a journalistic Super Bowl championship team right now.
Well, kind of, yeah. And it's all, you know, kind of like the Alabama Crimson Tide with the journalistic side of that.
Yeah. Well, the only problem is now that you've you won this major award, it's now time for the infighting. You know, it's time for you to walk in and someone, I don't like these drawings. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't care if you won some awards. That was last year, buddy. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, the reason I say this is because, you know, a lot of times right after the success comes. But the thing is, you could also be, and hopefully you are, more of a, like you said, Alabama Crimson Tide or New England Patriots type thing where you just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. Yeah, but just don't put any cameras in the other newsrooms.
I've been in this business a long time, and there's been stuff that I thought my colleagues and I probably should have won stuff for and we didn't. And so anytime you do something, you gotta just enjoy it. It's not, it doesn't make you any better than you were before. And it doesn't make you any less when you don't win what you're up for, whatever it is. It's all subjective. But,
well, what I would say on your behalf, JD, is since you won recently, for the now, until someone else wins, just say, hi, we're much better than you. Our win is the most recent. The hell with the rest of you. And just rub it in. Just wear a Pulitzer hat when you walk around. Walk around outside the other places and just say, losers.
Our man John won the Pulitzer, but now we all became, we put the we in team real quick after he won.
Well, yeah, I mean, the quarterback gets the chunky soup commercial, okay?
Yeah.
But, you know, the kickers, the offensive linemen, they get in Gillette commercials, right? They get the car dealership commercials. You all get something, dagnabbit.
Yeah, I'm the dork on the sideline drawing caricatures of the winners.
Hey, I'm from Philadelphia, and my hometown team won the Super Bowl last year. And I think maybe the only person that didn't get a ring was my nephew who moved to Texas. I mean, they just kept, we finally won a Super Bowl for the first time in history. Everybody gets a ring. I know a guy named Bill Philadelphia who's not even from Philadelphia, and we're giving him a ring, you know.
Well,
yeah. My friend JD, man, I just want to thank you, man. Our show is concluded there. I just want to I was looking forward to this more than you know. I really was.
Well, I've been looking forward. Well, I appreciate that, and you've been a man of mystery that I've liked, regardless of your mysteriousness. But now you're no longer a mystery, but you're as smart as you can be. I really enjoy talking with you.
Okay, it's now time to admit something, also, JD. Now that now that we're here, we've spoken to each other. I'm actually a Chinese woman, and it's time for people to know this.
Hot. That makes you even hotter than me.
Okay, my friend. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it, JD.
I appreciate a lot of this, Anthony. It was a pleasure.
Okay, my pleasure was mine, my brother. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, all right, all right. I told you we are going to have a great time. Was that fun or was that fun? You know, I'm not going to let you down. S. Anthony always takes care of his listeners. I told you I had a great time. You had a great time. And it's not going to stop because we're going to keep doing this. I want to thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you coming back every week. Thank you for telling everybody about the show. Much love to all of you, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks.